Hello, Nomads. Salut, Nomad. It's really nice to have you here with us for the virtual edition of the Nomad Talks. I'm Safia, one of the co-founders of Nomad Junkies. If you're dreaming of a pint of Guinness at the pub with your mates after chasing a leprechaun at the end of a rainbow, there's no need to pinch yourself. You're awake and you're at the right place. I know St. Patrick's is coming up in a few days, so what better way to get in the mood than to talk about living and working in Ireland after the pandemic? So let's welcome our first guest, Adera, published author of Free Spirit.
Hello.
Hi, Adera.
Thanks for having me. This is so exciting. I want to chase leprechauns again. It was the best.
How are you doing today?
Wonderful, thanks. I'm so excited to talk to you about working and living in Ireland because honestly, that experience changed my life.
Well, I
even wrote a book about it.
With us. Yes. So thanks for joining us today. Where are you at the moment?
I live on Vancouver Island in British Columbia, Canada.
Ooh, that's nice. For everyone else watching us, we also want to hear about you. So why don't you tell us here in the comments where you're watching us from? Also, a little check mic. Can you hear us well? Is the sound quality good or not? Just leave a thumbs up, thumbs down in the comment. So Adera, you're here today to tell us about your Ireland experience. I'd love to know more about it. So how long were you there for? And what kind of visa did you apply to go there?
So I stayed for 9 months, but my visa at the time was good for a year. I have now just checked, and the same visa is actually good for 2 years now if you are in the age of 18 to 35. So it's officially called the Working Holiday Authorization Visa. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's for Canadians only.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, I've also done a working holiday visa in Australia, and I think that it's probably the best kept secret in the travelers community. I mean, Canadians between the ages of 18 and 35 can travel and work not only in Ireland or Australia like I did, but also in 30 countries for up to 2 years with this type of visa. So it's pretty impressive. I'll put the links in the comments if you want more information, not you obviously, but people that are watching us, if you want more information about the costs for that type of visa, how to apply, and also the various requirements. So Adera, why did you apply for a working holiday visa in Ireland? And we want to know the real story.
Okay, I'm gonna tell it. I've already told it in the book, so I wouldn't flake out on you now. I'm gonna tell it how it is. So I was working in radio back in Vancouver at the time. I was 27. I had just finished 2 years on cruise ships, so I already was an adventurous spirit. So it wasn't outside of my sort of comfort zone to go live somewhere abroad. And I had just gotten fired because I had a little of infatuation for this guy in a band, and I tried to hawk their music to all the record labels and producers that I knew in town due to my position. And so I guess that was a conflict of interest. And it wasn't the first time I had made a mistake like this for love. And I kind of just made myself feel totally isolated in my own city. And I didn't know if I'd ever be able to work in Vancouver again. So feeling quite down on myself, I went to go see a movie with a girlfriend called P.S. I Love You with Gerard Butler and Hilary Swank. And I'm dating myself now. And because now I can't get the working visa. I'm over 35. But at the time, I saw the movie and I was like, oh my God, are Irish men like Gerard Butler? Like, is this truly how these guys are? Just so caring and loving and really wanting their women to be who they are and support them in their dreams. And I was like, this is my kind of guy. So I really had nothing to lose at this point. So I packed up a huge backpack, and I had $900 to my name. I just looked to see how much it cost me to get the visa, which I can share with everybody. But basically, when I arrived to Ireland, I had less than $1,000, and there I was with really, truly zero research done and just looking for a man. But of course, the story continues.
So, I mean, how did your friends and family react to your decision to work and travel in Ireland, or really just follow your chase for an Irishman or to find love in Ireland?
They thought it was bold. They thought it was interesting that I was taking this next step. A little bit unrational. You know, I was always somebody who was already making these sorts of decisions a lot. So it wasn't like out of the norm that I would do this, but I was just thinking for somebody who might be shy or have always followed the rules, or somebody who's like lived by the book and they go and do something like this, I could see how family could be really like, you know what, I don't think that's a good idea. Like, stick to what you know. But honestly, when you step out of your comfort zone in this capacity and you have some sort of fire or drive to do it, whether it's for love or for, you know, wanting to see new sites or whatever the reason might be, there is something there for you. And like I said, this trip changed my life. So I can't stress enough how you just need, no matter what anyone says, if you have that little spark in you to go get her, there's a reason.
So you had that courage with you and you bought the ticket, flew to Ireland. So what are the first things you did when you arrived there?
Yeah. So I just looked. So the site I went through was swap.ca, and it was actually really seamless. They hooked me up from the very beginning when I was in Vancouver to help with my one-way ticket flight, to help me find the hostel for, I think that even includes a couple nights accommodation with them. And then right across the street, I arrived right in the center of Dublin, was the resource center that they also are a part of. So there I could use their computers, back then fax machines, that kind of thing, where I could look for work and kind of get myself established. Now, of course, the first thing I did once I arrived was have a Guinness. That was the main priority, was to try fresh Guinness. Literally, the factory was just like 4 blocks down the street. It was delicious. It was about $12 Canadian. So obviously, I had to get really clever about how I got my pints. There was some cheaper places further past Temple Bar. I can't stress enough how when you arrive in a city that you've never been to before, you've done sort of zero research on, you have no expectations, how your eyes just open. I can't really explain the experience of just not having any backstory, not having any like party talking in my head. It's like you are in the moment, you are present, and you are taking in so much stimuli, you know, at a time. And truly, I feel like that's living. That is full on living, is when you're just like in a moment, you don't know what's coming, and you're just taking it all in and doing your best, which is what happened.
Carpe diem to the fullest.
Yeah, exactly.
So how was it then to find a job? Because you did mention that there was a resource center across the street from the hostel. So was it easy? And what kind of job did you end up getting while you were in Ireland?
Yeah. So similarly, you would look online and see what job postings there were. I also did the whole walk into a restaurant and hand over my resume. So I spent probably a week doing things like that until a retail job came about at River Island, which is their sort of bootlegger style store. And I already had experience working in retail, so that was really easy to land that. And I stayed there for about 6 months. I probably got paid about €600 every 2 weeks, I'd say. And I ended up finding a gal at the hostel who had just come from Canada as well, except from the East Coast. And her and I decided to be roomies. So we had this 1 bedroom, huge bedroom that could fit 2 twin beds. We had our own little bathroom, and we were a part of this bigger townhouse thing with more people upstairs. And we all shared a kitchen. And that was €900 a month. So with my wage and sharing that with her, it was really doable to have extra money to go to the pub, because that was a thing. I was on a mission to find my man. And then it turned into more travel, and we'll get into that too. But yeah, it was so amazing to be situated in Ireland, because literally a trip anywhere in Europe is just so feasible on a weekend or on a whim.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like we've covered the money aspect a lot, and we're all here today because we love traveling. So let's talk about traveling, actually. Where did
Yeah.
you travel in Ireland during your working holiday?
Yeah. So
Also, what was your favorite place? I'm really curious about that.
yeah. So I did all of Ireland. Basically, that was really simple, especially if you have confidence in driving. Maybe you haven't had the experience of driving on the other side of the road or on the other side of the car, but I picked it up quite quickly. And yeah, you could just rent a car and travel all around. The island's quite small. So we did that. My favorite parts in Ireland, obviously, I wrote them down just in case I forgot, was the Cliffs of Moher, obviously, Giant's Causeway, and Dingle, and the Ring of Kerry is quite sweet as well. And it's just so scenic, and tons of land and sheep and tiny little roads. It's just so adorable and endearing and lovely. So Ireland was wonderful. And then, of course, you could take a really inexpensive flight with, I don't know if Ryanair is still in business, but a really cheap. Oh, great. So with Ryanair, so we bounced over like on a weekend to either Paris, London, anywhere in Germany, Brussels, Amsterdam, Vienna, Prague, Scotland, of course. I went a few different times. And then when you're arriving someplace, if you're not comfortable driving, obviously there's always tour buses and hop on, hop offs. And another is the transit. So in Ireland, I took a lot of transit. I had a bit of translation difficulty right in the beginning because the Irish do talk quite quickly, and their accent can be thick, even though they do speak English. And I didn't understand when he was trying to tell me what bus line to take, that he was saying 33. I was hearing turty tree, so dirty tree. I was like, 2 trees. I couldn't quite understand like where the bus stop was. It was near some trees. Anyway, he was getting very frustrated with me until I started to pick up the trees. 1, 2, tree is the thing. And then the other kind of sayings I loved was what's the crack, which was like, what's up? And feck, they say feck a lot. And it just gives you total license to swear all the time because feck isn't as bad. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Wow, I love it. And especially the accent part, because people don't really realize, but I mean, we speak English, but once you go to Scotland, Ireland, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, it just hits you like, oh, wait, I thought I spoke English, but then I hear these people talk and it's just complete gibberish to me.
Yeah, they have so much slang too. It's so fun to listen in. Yeah. And I found the Irish to be very friendly, very welcoming. I did find though that once I arrived, I did segregate more with the foreign, visitors. The other travelers. It's like you all have that in common. So, of course, it was really easy to sort of find my people there. But obviously with work, eventually after the 6 months of River Island, I got a job with Tour America, which was a tourism company, that sold cruises and flights to Florida and flights sort of anywhere. So I was behind a desk organizing all of that. And I did quite well because everyone thought I was American. So selling trips to America was easy peasy for me. So that was really fun to switch it up and use some of my travel history to help guide people through their journeys. And of course, at the end of the day, I didn't leave with my Gerard Butler because number one, he's from Scotland. So I didn't do my research at all. I know I said that. And 2, all Irish guys when I was there really loved to wear tracksuits. They had very poor dental hygiene and they liked to drink quite a bit. So those were things that were not depicted in the movie per se. So I did switch gears, a few months in going, okay, you're going to have to come with a different strategy here, go home. So besides the work and having a lot of fun with friends, and of course, all the traveling I got to do, I actually ended up doing a lot of self-actualization and realization through a meditation group that is followed by a guru named Sri Chinmoy, and it was free. And I could go like 3 or 4 days a week, and it was obviously very cheap, obviously free. And it stopped me from sort of drinking as much as I was. I mean, I wasn't a crazy alcoholic, but definitely you're going out to the pub and having a couple pints, right? So it was a lovely switch of gears. And I actually left finding my one true love, which ended up not being a man, but myself. And it was a really beautiful time to find my own self-love. And I feel like everyone needs to take a bit of me time, especially before, you know, families come together, or marriages, or anything that sort of keeps you a little bit more situated where you're at, that it's really important to spend time, have your own eat, pray, love moment, which is exactly what I did.
Oh, you just took the words away from me. It's such a lovely story. I mean, what else can I ask you? You just had the perfect story. I guess that's why you wrote a book about it, right?
That's right. That's right. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I really did cover all the things on my end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have one last question. Because yeah, I think like we're going to take some questions from the people that are watching. But before we do, if you can just share, what advice would you give someone who would like to do a working holiday visa in Ireland?
To do it. That's the advice. Don't even think twice about it. I mean, I didn't, and I did just fine. I was just looking at other pictures on travel websites as well, and it's just like so many people with so many different culture backgrounds and diversity, and everyone just feels so included. And I loved that. I loved that people were out there, no matter who they were, no matter what their background was, no matter what they've sort of been told, and they were just going and doing it. And like I said, if that is in your heart to do, you got to listen to that, because you only live this one grand life. So
we do.
Great.
And
yeah,
after all, we're just one flight away from coming back home if it doesn't go the way we want it to go. But I mean, once you have that one-way ticket, you want to use your time there, right?
Yes, I know. That's exactly what happened with me. I thought about coming back, but then I didn't want to come back as a failure either. I wanted to at least accomplish something while I was there. And that was what I did, was the meditation bit. I was in that for at least 6 months. And of course, all the travel I got to do. I mean, there's just no way I would have been able to do all that from Canada, you know, Paris. You know, you'd have to sort of situate yourself over there for a good chunk of time. And what was so great is I didn't have to have a big lump sum of money. I just needed to make a little bit, and I could go and enjoy.
Yeah, your money goes a long way. Well,
Truly.
Your story was really, really inspiring, and I'm sure a lot of the people watching have questions. So now I will ask you guys watching to ask us your questions about the working holiday visa experience in Ireland, or just in general. So don't be shy. Write them in the comments just below, and we'll pick a few of them to answer right away. So let me go through the questions. Oh, here we have a classic. Someone is asking, while you were in Ireland, what did you miss most about Canada?
Well, my family and friends, of course. The weather was quite similar to the West Coast, so I didn't miss that. Yeah, it would just be people, of course. Yeah.
People.
Mm-hmm.
I see another question here. We did talk about money, but someone is asking specifically, how is the cost of living in Ireland?
Yeah. So like I said, I think it is in and around, you know, 400 to 600 euro a month for a bedroom in some sort of shared accommodation situation. And then it would probably go up from there, depending if you're not cool to share and you need more independence. But that's what I found anyway.
Okay. And in terms of like having a beer or doing your groceries, would you say that it's similar, or you found that there was a bit of a gap between the two?
No, it's all very similar. I mean, from the Canadian standpoint and our money, it was very similar in that regard, but in euros. So obviously, if you're bringing your Canadian money over there, it's going to be worth nothing. You've got to make euros. No, it's not true. It doesn't. But when you're making euros, it's very on par with like what you would be paying here. So for instance, like a pint of beer is 8 or 7 euro, which is similar to like a $7 or $8 beer here. And then groceries, like if you went to the, is it called Lidl? Lidl, Lidal.
Lidl, yeah.
Yeah. So that's where you shop because it's like 59 cents or whatever for cookies and things. Yeah. Like you can totally get by with, off your like rice noodles and stuff like that. But I would say it's very in par with living and what you're making expenses. And yeah. Did that make sense? Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those who ask, we can add in the comment. There's a website called Numbeo where you can go and compare the prices. So you can see the different countries and you have amenities as well that you can compare the prices. So it's a good place to start for that. But although you didn't meet Gerard Butler, what was your most memorable experience overall of your trip in Ireland?
Oh, what a cool question. It was definitely taking myself out on dates, whether I had just taken the bus to some place I didn't know where I was going and I ended up there and had lunch and then went back, or I hopped on a plane and went to Prague by myself or Brussels and just like took in the city by myself in beautiful, sunny weather. It was just so special to be able to take that quality time and that me time and not, be around other people and just kind of have my own experience. So that was definitely my highlight for sure. And just to be clear, I have technically met my Gerard Butler, even though I'm my Gerard Butler, but I have married now to an amazing guy who is Irish-Scottish mix, no less. So there we go. I didn't find him there though.
So there was a loop to it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And for people watching, if you have a question that we didn't have time to answer, write them here in the comments and we'll make sure to reply to every single one of you. And we also have someone from International Experience Canada that can answer any specific questions you might have about the working holiday visa.
Awesome.
So if you also decide to travel and work abroad after the pandemic, you can find the details on how to apply for every country, including Ireland, on the International Experience Canada website. We'll put the links down in the comments. And one last thing, we'll be covering many other exciting destinations where you can apply in upcoming events such as Taiwan, Germany, New Zealand. So you don't want to miss out on them. They're all free. We'll share the links for the other events down below in the comments. So thank you all for joining us today. And thanks, Adera, for being with us.
My pleasure. It was so happy to share my story. Thanks for listening. And I hope I encourage people to go to Ireland.
Awesome. Thanks, Adera.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.